let's put Pastor on the spot right off the bat.
Okay.
How many episodes have you watched the entirety
Oh,
of?
there we go.
The entirety
Yeah,
of.
the whole thing.
Hey, welcome. This is Testify. Today we have a special guest. I'm here with Philip, and our guest is our pastor, Pastor Johan McGregor. He's also my dad. Good to see you, guys.
I'm
Glad to have you
glad
here.
to be with you guys. I'm actually excited about this.
Well,
so.
we are too. We're very excited.
You know what we could title this? We could title this "Get to Know Your Pastor."
Yeah.
And
I'm good.
I think that's great. Do some rapid fire questions, and then I've got a couple.
Okay.
I think it'd be fun.
I'm going to steal a couple of your questions.
Do it.
So, Pastor Johan, what is the thing that you do the most every week that prepares you to come and to be the shepherd that you are to our church?
I knew it was going to be tough ones.
Yeah.
What do I do to prepare? Obviously, is through the week. I just have my time with the Lord, walking, talking, and but my early morning is that's my time. I wish the Lord would let me sleep a little longer, but I guess He figures I can get you still early mornings, and it's just been what I love to do, and it's just my time with the Lord, and just no interruptions, no distractions. It's quiet, and it's me and the Lord. That's my best times in preparation.
And how important is a lifestyle of prayer for being a pastor?
I didn't know there was any other of a lifestyle that you can do. Where would you plug in to give to people? If the well is empty and people come to draw, they can't find water.
Yeah.
They'll go somewhere else searching.
Yeah.
And as preachers of the gospel, we have to have something in our well. And only the Lord can put that in there. And of course, in word, in prayer, and all of those things. In worship, during early mornings, just laying before the Lord, not necessarily speaking, but He will drop something in my spirit for the people. It happens quite frequently with me, where I get a little a nugget from the Lord, whether it's in a dream or things like that. And I have to work through that, say, Lord, is this obviously for me? But then I know as a pastor, the responsibility is, do I have something to give to the people?
Now, and a lot of people that are going to be watching this, a lot of people in our church, they don't know this answer. How long have you actually been a pastor? Because you've been a preacher for a very long time.
Yes, that part. Been around, ministering as an evangelist, missionary, primarily. But the Lord did something that I didn't think for me, because I love the traveling, I love all of that. But then there was a shift in my heart at some time, and I think it came around probably 2005, maybe a little earlier. But you kind of pushed that aside. But I knew that was coming. Not quite knew exactly what and how, but it showed up, and there it started in Millersville. Yeah, the great capital city of Millersville.
Great things have started there.
I tell you what.
I believe it started in White House. We started in a small building in White House.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
But before then, people need to know that you were an evangelist, and you traveled, and how do you say this humbly? You were a mover and a shaker in a way. You preached at the Brownsville Revival. You were involved with Brooklyn Tabernacle. Wow. All these great big churches. I'm looking at this video I pulled up. I don't know if you remember this, from the early 90s, or like maybe the late 90s. You're singing at Brownsville. What do you think when you how old are you here? Like in 29, 30 maybe?
It was about 30, 35.
What is it like being on a stage like that, or a stage like Brooklyn Tabernacle?
I don't think you prepare for that. maybe if you overthink it, it'll get to you. But you realize that I don't know. It's just God's grace. It's nothing we have done. It's not. I don't even belong on stages like that. Never felt that. Just want to be humble before the Lord, and then He places you in these places, and it's so not humiliating, but humbling. What am I doing here, Lord? How is it? These guys are so amazing, and they've done these great things, and you feel inadequate, but God is gracious. He takes you through those moments and puts His blessing on it, and you're just grateful that He's allowed us to be in some of these places. It's obviously a dream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you came to America in 1987.
Yep.
It was a long testimony that you could probably tell us, but it was a rough testimony. You wrote a book about this.
Yes.
Do you want to show people the book?
I do happen to have a book with me, and it's strange title, Strangers in a Foreign Land. I actually was between two, Strangers in a Foreign Land or Duct Tape and Faith.
I don't like that one too.
Because our life was kind of held together, with duct tape, but especially faith.
So in that, the struggles of coming to America, and then you got deported, and we're not going to tell people how the story ends.
I see.
Yeah, it was rough. It was a rough time that you had.
Yeah.
But how can people get a hold of that book?
I think if they just kind of go online to the church website, loveswaychurch1@gmail.com, we'd be delighted to get something in their hands. It's it's full of just nothing but testimonies and testimonies of God's faithfulness. We were just thrown in there, but it's really not about it's His faithfulness, because He's carried us through all these avenues, events. This journey is a journey of faith. It's had its ups and its downs, but you can get it. Go to our website. I think that's the simplest thing. loveswaychurch1@gmail.com, and just request that. We'll get it in your hands.
Awesome.
Get it shipped. Yes.
Let's do some rapid fire questions.
You go ahead. Start.
All right, Pastor, who is a person that you looked up to in mentorship? Because we believe that honor is important, and you didn't just get here by yourself. Who did you look up to, and that got you to where you are?
There are quite a few of my heroes of the faith, and I have to say my dad. But I didn't realize, you're going to get me crying, I didn't realize that until I was older. Because you're just there, part of the team, watching, seeing, and it's only later that you realize, wow, why didn't I pay more attention? Because God used him in special ways. I mean, and we come to the U.S., and this book is full of just heroes of myself and our family. The happy pastor Paul Baggett. Oh, he's up there. He's up there. And there were many others that influenced my life. And Jim Cymbala was just another powerful man of God that we got to spend time with in Brooklyn Tab. Just so humble. Welcomed us into his home. And,
wow.
and you freak out for stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
John Kilpatrick of the Great Revival. Just people like that. I would have to stop because there's so many of them that you glean from, you watch, you see, you learn. And you say, I want to be like that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
If you weren't a pastor, what other career or vocation do you think you would have pursued?
And that was the furthest
Right.
thing from my mind, being a pastor. What, they have to have it all together. They have
Or maybe
to have this tone. They
if
have
you
to
weren't
have-
in ministry.
if I wasn't even in ministry.
Right. What would be the thing that you think you would have done?
As a young man, I thought I would be in the entertainment world, because I loved, singing, the stage. It was almost a place that I can escape. Mm-hmm. I'm naturally, most people don't think so, but I'm naturally withdrawn, shy. I don't get, just hang out with a bunch of people. I'm actually reserved. But it feels like when I'm up here, I don't know, something else. It's another mantle, it's another cloak, it's something else. But if I had my way, my mind was set on the entertainment world, if I'm just honest.
But you were an amazing singer, so that
Still an amazing
it's like
singer.
a mix between Tom Jones.
Oh, come on now.
Elvis, but like it's like even R&B, like a lot like Boys to Men, or it's just you'll have to come and hear.
Well, thank you.
Hear
But,
speak
yeah.
from. All right, so we're out of time. We want to respect your time, but we'll maybe ask 2 more questions.
Go for it.
How has your theology evolved over the years, if it has, and what are those major shifts of experiences that caused you to make that change? These are deep questions.
Those are deep ones. My theology, I hope my foundation was firm, being, part of a ministry that God used mightily in my dad's life, in your grandpa's life. I think it was ahead of his time, in the place that he was, because God used him. Never, the other day, if I may, we were talking about it with some of the other brothers. I never saw my father use notes. I have to have guidelines to show me. For preaching for 30 years, 2 and 3 and 4 services every day, hardly can I remember repeats, but a fresh word from the Lord. And he would just share that. And so I didn't even realize until I, had to step behind the pulpit and preach it. And you're nervous and like, oh my goodness, I have got to study, but I got to write down because you don't want to miss anything. But just, so the theology, I believe, was strong. But growing up, there was a lot of things I thought is what it meant and so forth. Just recently, talked about the book of Ecclesiastes of Solomon. And I kind of, as a young person, I just thought, he just had a bad day. Don't even bother with that book, because it really doesn't, I don't even want to go into that negative. We people of faith and stuff. But then maturity come along a little bit and say, no, study this book. There's a reason why it's there. You don't like it, but it's there for a reason. And just, again, looking through it and watching, you go, wow, look at the nugget, look at the truth of what life is really about and like under the sun, because he's talking about under heaven in its time and its season and so forth. And you find out if you're living only for that, then everything he's saying is true. It's vanity, vanity, vanity. But when you look at, at the end of life and so forth, of his life, but you look at just some of those things, you see the value in it, that our focus and our attention is not to be in this world. He's calling us a little higher, to be seated with Christ in heavenly places, to rule and reign with him from that perspective. So those are some of the things.
Awesome.
Last question. What's one book other than the Bible that has had a significant impact on your life or ministry?
There's a preacher, hands down, and there were several books that I love and I've gotten into, and you can't put them down. One was, I read it several years ago, by Rees Howell. Mm-hmm. And it's a pastor, missionary, preacher from England. How he got born again, how he got saved and filled with the Holy Spirit. And his journey, as I read that, for me it was parallel to what I saw my father went through with the accusations, the criticism, the attacks against him, different things. But he kept on walking with God, listening and hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit, and not turn to the right. I mean, it was tough even in his day, and the things that the Lord would ask him to do that was outside of the culture of the day. And just watch what God did with him and establish schools and universities, and so it just blessed me so that, and you want to model your life after people like that.
Yeah. Well, Pastor, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for meeting with us. Yeah. We're going to do a part 2. We have to, and we'll dive deeper into your story of how you came from South Africa to America.
Awesome.
And the journey of the transition from being an evangelist to pastor. But this has been great to get to know you more.
Come on.
For the first time for me.
And I love you. You're like my sons. You are my son. But we said earlier where we are, and God's far from finished with us. But I never take for granted that I got here because of what I did. Somebody else was praying for me, and without my wife, I wouldn't even want to do this. So Elise, kudos to you.
Some bonus points.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for watching today. If you liked what you heard, like, share, and subscribe.